Hey, it's Kyle Meredith, host of the Kyle Meredith With podcast, presented by WFPK at WFPK.org and the Consequence Podcast Network. It's a series that puts the spotlight on iconic musicians and actors, inviting them to drop by and talk about their latest projects, whether it's albums, TV shows, films, or beyond.
I'm going to say something I don't want to say. Here it goes. Without Spinal Tap, there is no Tenacious D.
Whoa! Man! We get great stories and the biggest scoops from people like Garbage's Shirley Manson, the 1975's Matty Healy, Jack Black and Kyle Gass of Tenacious D, Maya Hawke, Kiefer Sutherland, and everyone in between. New episodes arrive every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover some new ones. You can find Kyle Meredith With on the Consequence Podcast Network or wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to Two Chunks and a Hunk. Movie musings for mostly everyone. Welcome to Two Chunks and a Hunk. My name is Jordan Wonders.
Jordan Mater.
This week, I'm your chunk.
Dean Jordan Wonders from Greendale Community College.
Dean Vinci.
I'm Doge, and listen, John will come for you, and you will do nothing because you can do nothing. So get the chunk out of my sight.
Oh, I was really hoping. I know what Carter's quote is, spoiler alert. And I was really hoping that somebody was going to say that he once saw him kill a man with a chunking pencil.
With a chunking pencil.
Pencil. I'm Carter, and people keep asking me if I'm Hunk. And I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm Hunk.
Hey, that was an incredible Keanu.
Keanu. I'm just first try, bro. Keanu just came out. We're just giving it a shot. I am inspired. Keanu Reeves for the ACT
Keanu
today. You will be needing
Weaseless.
a number 2 pencil.
Pencil.
So I'm killing man with a chunking pencil. Pencil.
It's like the fawn from Pan's Labyrinth.
It does. Chunking pencil. Nostromo's Sicily. Pencil. Dang, I just want to watch Pan's Labyrinth again right now. Yes.
Oh, man. Hey, Carter, why are you the hunk?
Yeah, I'm the hunk because I just shared something with these guys. We share a love of music, and we have karaoke together before. And I had one of my best karaoke moments very recently at a shout out to.
It was powerful.
Shout out to Retro Pub. It's called the Flashback Retro Pub in Oak Cliff, and did some Journey, some Faithfully, and feel very excited. It feels like this is the gateway to finally give Kiss a chance by Prince.
Faith Hill.
It's hard to find.
Kiss.
Give me a kiss. There's lots of kisses out there.
That's true. I want to rock and roll.
A whole
all night.
band, actually, even.
Yeah. Adele gave us one yesterday. A sweet kiss. I don't even know if that was on. Our relationship is so much on air that I can't remember if it's recorded or not for the world. If it's in history. But that happened.
It's a powerful performance, Carter. I could tell that you meant it.
I felt it, dude.
Yeah. I could tell you meant that it's not easy loving a music man.
No.
And you've lived that story.
Yeah.
They do say that the road ain't no place to start a family.
There's no way. We all need the clowns, man. I mean, story of my life, really. But it was
such
a
a good song, though, actually.
One of my favorite
We can share that on the
memories-
Discord.
Yeah,
We can share that on the Discord. I'll do that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memories of my life is in San Francisco at a Giants game, and the 7th inning stretch that they do there is Lights by Journey.
Yeah.
The whole
What a fun one to
ballpark sings
belt
it.
with, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Sweet Caroline in Fenway is fun. take me out to the ball game, root for the Cubbies in Wrigley is fun. For a non-sports guy, I've been to like most of the major league stadiums, but Lights in San Francisco is no contest the best one.
It is weird that the Texas Rangers do DQ. That's what I like about Texas for their song that everybody sings together. But
I told
get
you
it.
about-
I mean, it says got Texas in it.
Well, I was in Arkansas once at like a hotel recruiting for the university I work for, and it said, "That's what I like about Arkansas."
Ew.
No, Dairy
Ew.
Queen, you can't.
And I said, "What?" First of all, I didn't even know Dairy Queen was outside of the great state of Texas.
Yeah,
it's just for us.
They got them in Georgia, where I'm from.
DQ, that's what I like about Arkansas.
That's
That
really
sounds
how it
wrong.
went.
I can't believe it.
I think it's the same dude
DQ
too. He
with
just
a
went in and
pickup
did
note?
everything.
Ooh.
That's what I
can't
like
believe-
about Hawaii.
DQ, that's what I like about North Dakota.
Yeah.
That's what I like about Delaware.
Delaware.
Is anybody
That's
from
what I like
Delaware?
about Maine. Huh?
Has anybody ever been from Delaware before?
Has anyone
Think through-
ever been from Delaware?
Think through your life. You ever met
think-
somebody from Delaware?
I think the current president is from Delaware.
I think that's right.
Isn't Joe Biden from Delaware?
Dude, my brain went so many
Biden.
silly directions, but it's not the time to be silly.
Joe Biden.
It's the time to be aggressively vengeful. Because
we need to demonstrate some focus, some commitment, and some sheer will right now.
Sheer
guys.
chunking will. Something that you know very little about.
I actually do know very little about that kind of thing.
We are, man, I am stoked out of my mind.
Y'all have known that you knew 3 days ago that I had seen it. We didn't get to talk
I
about
know, dude. We found out, we were on an episode of Fan Theory Queries. We recorded this a few nights ago. And so we found out that Carter watched John Wick for the first time.
Yes, we did.
Like long before this actual time that we're recording. And it's been torturous. I've been wanting to text you, Carter, about John Wick ever since I found out you just watched it.
So we are talking about a movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Sorry
yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Spoiled it.
Why would you do that? Ugh. And the movie is known as John Wick. I guess it's a John Wick series, but we don't have a name because it's just John Wick. How do you change that beautiful name? Before we
We could
dive
call it
in
Scorn.
to our discuss, I need a synopsis from. I need a synopsis from.
This week's IMDb synopsis is written by our good friend and father, Nick Reganis.
Yeah.
With the untimely death of his beloved wife still bitter in his mouth, John Wick, the expert former assassin, receives one final gift from her, a precious keepsake to help John find a new meaning in life now that she is gone. But when the arrogant Russian mob prince, Yosef Tarasov, and his men pay Wick a rather unwelcome visit to rob him of his prized 1969 Mustang and his wife's present, the legendary hitman will be forced to unearth his meticulously concealed identity. Blind with revenge, John will immediately unleash a carefully orchestrated maelstrom of destruction against the sophisticated kingpin Viggo Tarasov and his family, who are fully aware of his lethal capacity. Now, only blood can quench the boogeyman's thirst for retribution.
Whoa, Nick Reganis for president. King Nick.
Right?
Oh my gosh. So good. Man,
We have to find a way to reach out to this
Full
man.
body chills reading that, by the way.
We got to find a way to reach out to this man. I am.
See,
in
I don't think
love.
IMDb has like a user-to-user messaging
Well, we're gonna
feature.
find him. We're gonna find him somehow. I am in.
It's decidedly
love.
not a social network.
This dude synopsizes so well.
I hope we
Do
get
you
to
think
ride
that-
the Nick wave all the way through John Wick. I hope, surely.
John Nick.
John Nick.
John Nick, dude.
Do you think Nick writes all of them? Or is it like a medieval painter? Like or Hans Zimmer.
Or Shakespeare.
Understudies write it, and then Nick signs
No, it's
Nick
Nick. I
Reganis
like
in
to
big
think
John
it's all
Hancock
Nick.
letters at the
I like
bottom.
to think it's all Nick.
I do too, but is that
there's-
possible?
Yeah, he's
Like
done
Nick
so many,
Reganis
right?
is a nom de plume. Is that what you're saying?
Hasn't he done
Nick
thousands?
Reganis- Nick Reganis is like the anonymous of IMDb, where it's just a collective of people.
Dude, in that case, sign me up. I want to be a part of it. What a great synopsis for this movie.
Only blood can quench the boogeyman's thirst for retribution.
So good. Here's the thing. John Wick is an interesting series. Every single entry on IMDb has the exact same score.
Really?
And it is one of the few series that I would agree every movie is equally as good as the movie before it.
I've heard a lot of people say they get better.
I
think they get better.
I think the budget gets bigger, the fights get bigger. One has the most heart, you can tell, but then 2 and 3 just take that creativity and heart and then just expand on it. It's a perfect, if you like action movies, it's a perfect series.
John Wick 1 is a Rotten Tomatoes score of 86, and then 2 and 3 are both 89.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably about right too. Like just all right
and
around the
4
same.
looks great.
Oh my gosh.
4 do look great.
Donnie
4 got
Yen,
Donnie
dude.
Yen.
And it's got the elder from Bullet Train.
And it's got Skarsgård.
And
Bill
Skarsgård. Yeah, I mean,
Jeez.
John Wick can go on as long as they want. Just keep getting new cool people to fight with and against John, and I'm in.
Yep.
I'm sold completely because this movie is a thrill ride. There's no reason to do a spoiler-free section. This movie is 9 years old.
9 years old.
Which is crazy also.
It would have been spoiled for
Yikes.
me 3 days ago. If I
Well, you
listened to it 4 days
shouldn't
ago.
have listened. Carter,
I know you just watched it for the first time, so let's come back to that. Jordan, did you see this when it came out in 2014?
Yeah, saw it when it came out.
I did not.
I think this is my 6th or 7th time to see this movie. I really love John Wick. It is the perfect, I don't even want to call it mindless because it's not mindless. And in fact,
No.
one of my favorite things about this movie is that it sets my imagination on fire
Yeah.
and lets me do it. And so I don't want to call it like brainless action. It's not turn your brain off and watch people punch and kick and shoot, but it is so aggressively stylized that every scene is cool. Every scene is cool.
Yeah. Every single scene. Yep.
And not
The
a lot
first
of
time I
movies can
saw
say
this, I didn't really know what I was getting into. It was a double feature. It was with it was like a team retreat for the job I was working in 2017. And we did a double feature of them. And it was a guy, Cameron, on our team who was like, "Hey, trust me, like this seems kind of lame, kind of stupid." Because by that point it was 2017. I knew like the premise, which is admittedly bad guys steal car, kill dog, good guy kills everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Which is like, that could be really silly.
Yes.
And he was like, "I promise you've heard that it might be silly. Just give it a shot, go in open-minded." And we watched this, and then the second that it finished, put on John Wick 2. And it was like, I don't know, man, like super, super. I remember that being one of the first times that I became aware, I guess, of the trend of like the hyper stylized ultra violence that we like were looking for last fall. I think we were looking for this in The Raid, and we certainly found it in RRR, but it's that same kind of like, I don't know, that kind of like adrenaline feeling.
Yeah, totally. There is something unapologetically cool about
it's
this
just
movie.
cool. It could be so douchey.
100%. And
With, like,
it
the
is a
huge-
little bit like
It is a little.
the soundtrack, which I love, is just, we're killing
Also sucks.
strangers. It sucks,
Yeah.
but I love
Yeah.
it. I can try to imagine this movie with better music. It doesn't work.
Yeah. No, it's just
The soundtrack's perfect.
Carter, I want to know.
Yeah, talk to us. Give us first impressions.
Well, I'll go back to a series that we did last year when we were able to do. We did a ton of action last year.
We did.
really did.
And we did The Raid. And so in terms of like stylized action, the Raid was one of my first experiences of that, of just choreographing gunfight
Yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
Outside, I think Baby Driver is an outlier because it's to music.
It's like a music video, basically.
But yeah, what John Wick did is like added some more pops of beautiful neon color and Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
And so, my super pump for John Wick is guns. my super
That's
pump.
what I like about Texas.
My super pump for John Wick is the choreography. And it was super evident, even as I was reading some notes. John Wick is one of those movies that I knew I needed to take in some trivia or at least look at some of the team that made this movie before I watched.
Sure.
Because this is not a take your eyes away situation for John Wick.
No, not at all.
No.
And so, I was reading through, and it's just like at the helm, our director is a choreographer, and
It's Keanu's stunt double from The Matrix.
Yes, dude, and it makes perfect sense. And just to read about the dedication from Keanu for this kind of thing, and here's the thing:
still to this day, my dude is training at like ranges and close quarter shooting. He didn't have to do that.
It's nothing new, though, right? Like Keanu was doing this from the jump, like with The Matrix. And I'm starting to think maybe the piece to these cultural phenomenons, it's more Keanu than anybody.
Yeah.
Because, yes, The Matrix comes with all of these cool, shiny new tools that we can use in the editing suite. But I'm starting to think, like, if Keanu is not Neo, does it fall the same way? Is it still just cool?
So.
It's also cool as a story now because he played Neo. And I think Keanu gets a bad rap sometimes in that he can be perceived as just being kind of dull, right? Having that look on his face of like, was that my fart kind of thing? Like almost all the time. But there's something about his keen awareness of what he is.
Yeah,
that I really enjoy. And so we had talked about, we had mentioned, and I think I've already had a conversation with maybe Doge about this, but we had talked about how wild is it that Daniel Craig gets to be Benoit Blanc and James Bond. But he's not the only one in the world that has done this. You know, I was just kind of ignorant to it, but Keanu being Neo, which every iteration after The Matrix was Boo Boo, and then being John Wick, he's probably now known more as John Wick. And when we're having,
I think so.
When we're having Keanu be a part of sketches or just kind of show up in rom-coms and stuff, it's the persona John Wick Keanu. Neo is dead.
Yeah.
Neo is dead. And Neo had another movie recently, and nobody's really talking about it.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I loved every bit of it. I think, seeing him with a gun and reading all the things about how he's switching, it's like a mutt. Like what they're doing in the choreography of like how he is so learned. It's like, yo, by the way, John is the most capable. And here's why.
I loved that. The attention to detail of like making sure that John is switching through all of these stances and
For
performing
close-up,
different kinds of martial arts. Like, so that people who know about this stuff, like it works for me because I don't know anything about fighting at all. But it works for somebody who knows things about fighting because they can they're visibly and visually demonstrating that John Wick
knows what's
is
up.
a master, like an expert at all forms of
I like to call it gun fu. He knows gun fu. He punches, he kicks, he shoots, and he's equally deadly at all of them. And I was going to hang on to my super pump. I'm going to go ahead and do it because I don't know how to talk about like around it. But my super pump for John Wick is I'm going to encapsulate it all in the phrase world building, but I want to boil it down to two separate things. But know that it encapsulates just the world building of John Wick as a whole. But there's two things in the movie specifically that I'm talking about. Number one is the hotel.
The Continental.
The Continental is emblematic of what I love so much about this movie, which is that this movie feels like that there would have been a book set 30 years before this movie about John encountering the criminal underworld for the first time, like a young adult novel where he's like, you guys have special coins that you use? Wait, there's rules inside this hotel? Wait, you can't kill another member of the Assassin's Guild? Like whatever. You know what I mean? Like there's so many rules and it feels like Hogwarts, but it feels like Hogwarts 30 years from now when Harry already knows and doesn't feel the need to explain it to you.
Right.
And it's just like you get swept up in this world of, there's just a dude that comes and cleans up after people shoot. Yeah, the cop knows him by name and is scared and respects him enough to just let him go. Yeah, blah, 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 whatever. And then the other scene is the Baba Yaga scene where Vigo is explaining to Yosef, do you know what you have done?
Yes, dude.
And
He's breaking the earth to
Yes.
get his guns again.
Everyone is terrified of John. Johnny Legs is in this movie for about 8 seconds. And in that, he's like, get out. You took John Wick's car. You killed his dog? Great. You might as well have just, punched him in the face, called him a baby, and left. Like, he's going to kill you. The fact that Viggo is like, yeah, my son's going to die. So there's that. Like, everyone is and I'm not a prequel guy. I don't want a prequel to this. But if we have to, then make it about John's Sisyphean task of killing 12 people in the same night. That's what I want to see.
If we have to make a prequel, make it a video game.
Dude, yes. I was going to
Honestly, make it
say.
a video game. Let it
That's got to be a blast.
Let IO, the Hitman people, make it. That would be amazing. But yeah, man, I don't know. The world that they build in this, first of all, pays dividends moving forward in this series. I mean, they expand on this so much. But John is set up maybe as the most believable boogeyman in any movie ever. And then immediately, the moment that we finish establishing how scary he is, he proves it when he kills 12 guys by himself in his house.
Yep.
And it goes off from there. So the world that they build in this movie is secretly and sneakily one of the coolest worlds in any media. And I love it.
I'll interject a little bit for the sake of like proximity, but let me super jump. And here's what's going to be interesting about having 1/3 of us never seen this series.
Yes.
So I'm totally in on right now. I've seen one movie, right? Totally in on all the lore around Wick the individual. The rules thing, I'm encouraged, of course, by the cultural, reviews and everything. And now especially that Jordan says that they're going to expand upon this and tell me more about the rules. I got to tell you, one shot though, tunnel vision, only John Wick. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem lazy, but there's so many loose ends for me.
Yes, totally.
It's fun to be like, but it's different if I was to watch the first Harry Potter and have read the books. It's like, okay, we don't have to explain it because we know what's coming. But for me, my super dump was, oh man, so cavalier. It's like, can you please show me more? And again, if they're holding their cards close to their chest for 3 more iterations of this world,
right?
Wonderful. What a smart move. But I got to say, like the bias of one watch and only seeing that, it felt like because if I'm watching John Wick and I only think there's only John Wick that ever exists, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to get too role play here.
Sure.
Then I'm kind of a little bit let down. I feel like that there was an opportunity that we didn't have. I don't know.
No, I totally get that. And I think I agree with you. And I have the benefit of knowing that they do a lot more with this world and expand a lot. And
absolutely.
They do a really good job. John Wick 1 really, now in retrospect, just sets up 2 and 3. 2 and 3 are both essentially results of what happens here, consequences of what happens in the first one, in a way that makes it all feel really tight. And they've done a great job. I'm excited to keep moving in this series because they do a great job of upping the stakes every movie, which is really fun and I think unique for an action series to not just retread old ground, but to say it gets even better. And honestly, none of the best fight scenes of this series are in the first movie.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. One second, Doge, I know you haven't been able to talk much yet, but I felt myself like pouty because I was already so anxious to finally watch this movie, watched it on Tuesday. And then here I am knowing that the rules are going to flesh out more. And if I wanted to, it's right there in the same streaming platform, man. Go ahead and just watch 2 and 3 tonight. Uh-huh. It's okay. Take the morning off, bro. You'll finish at 4 a.m. That's fine. But I'm like, I'm going to hold. Just hold on.
Yeah.
And I'm having to watch this entire series over a month.
No, I felt the same way.
It's tough, but
I've seen them and I finished 1 and was like, God, I want to start 2 right now so bad.
Yep.
Which is great.
Carter, this is interesting because it sounds like your super dump might be my super pump.
Well, I think it's similar to Jordan's. Yeah,
it is.
My super pump is the dotted line margins that we draw around our story here, where we're freely letting things overlap and pass beyond what we're explaining on camera. Like to me, it's emblematic in the scene where he tries to get into the nightclub and he's got the bouncer at gunpoint. and he says, "You look great. Have you lost weight?" And the guy says 60 kilograms. He's telling him there's 60 hostiles inside
Yeah.
the nightclub.
Wait,
and it's like,
hold the phone.
Isn't that
Yeah.
cool?
That's not real.
they don't reveal it.
Yeah.
They don't reveal it in the movie, but the actor for the bouncer was like, "Yeah, this is what they told me. This is what I'm telling John Wick, that there's 60 enemies inside the nightclub."
What?
And
Can
'cause-
somebody explain to me why I got goosebumps? That's not that cool.
It's cool.
Because there was a big
That's
thing.
cool.
There was lots of fan theories that came from it because it's like, hey, John seems to kill everyone. Everyone that has anything to do with someone who killed his dog. How come this bouncer lives? And they're like, oh, simple. Cue up what this actor had shared about what they said about narratively to him for this
Yeah.
scene. Yeah.
Yep. Because he gave him
Because he
information.
gave him information.
But it's stuff like that. It's like, you look great. Have you lost weight? 60 kilograms. It's the like, I need to make a dinner reservation for 12.
Totally,
Like,
dude.
it's all of that kind of stuff that just like shows us rather than tells us that John's part of a larger world. To me, like, and maybe it is, Jordan, more similar to yours, that like the world building of just like, we don't have to be like, you're an assassin, John.
Right.
This is Assassin's
Yes.
Guild. And we like, nothing is explained, but the script is really, really trusting of the audience, where it's just like, you see this scary guy, you see him be part of this society, you can figure it out. We might make another one, we might not, but the story that we're telling is not about introducing people to the Assassin's Guild.
Yeah.
The story that we're telling is about John Wick doing this one thing on this one night. And the focus of that, the sheer will, the commitment of that is wonderful to me. I love
No,
that.
I agree. I think there's something to be said, something very positive to be said for creating a movie where the funnel is huge, but the scope is tiny.
Yeah.
Like this world, that's what I'm saying, right? Like my imagination runs wild with this world. Even with what we get extra in 2 and 3, there's so much more to this world of assassins, this underground, Kingsman-esque, Harry Potter-esque, Alex Rider-esque, like you
It
don't
really
even know
is
that
Kingsman.
this world is happening under your very eyes. Like,
Imagine we're dropped into Kingsman without having to follow Eggsy through receiving his Hogwarts letter and all of that
Right.
stuff.
right. And
Yeah.
doing that, but then saying, yeah, but our story's just about this day
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Making a good movie is so hard. There's so many elements to John Wick. Like, because there's things that I don't even care to be picky about because that would sound ridiculous. But it's like, especially Jordan, when you mentioned scope, the fact that I don't give a rip that I don't remember seeing a civilian react to a look at the inside of what an assassin's world looks like. It was just the
nightclub when
the
people
narrow,
scream.
yeah, it was just
That's
the
it.
scope, and it didn't matter the effects. Yeah, our cleanup crew is so very much Harvey Keitel's character in Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
Wolf,
Yep.
I think was
Yep.
his name, but that's fine. It was like, I'm not saying it was a ripoff, but it was so fun to just see, like, it almost felt like the goons that were working with this old man were just kind of like, ugh, another day. They just
Another
felt
one.
like plumbers. And I love that because they're just wrapping up these bodies.
The decision to make this movie as, I mean, it's not simple, but you know what I mean? Like just the scope be so small. It reminds me of Ray Fiennes' Burger in The Menu, where it's like, dude, hey, all this is just a good burger made
good
with
burger.
quality ingredients. This is a simple movie, a simple premise made with quality ingredients and a lot of care by skilled hands. And this is what happens. You don't have to have a convoluted story with 30 twists and all these things. And I love those too. Don't get me wrong. I love that stuff. But this is just, hey, here's a cheeseburger, but it's going to knock your socks off.
Yeah. John Wick is a local diner. John Wick is, this menu will never change. We'll have different specials every week, but you know exactly what to expect. You're probably coming in to get the same 1 or 2 things every single time because you know they do it well enough. Like they do it so good and it's tough to beat it. Like I love elote, which is a street food that is super popular in Texas, especially in Oak Cliff. I've had elote that is better. It tastes better than my OG elote, which is this guy who's called Mr. Elote that's been around forever outside of this taco stand called Taqueria LCI in Oak Cliff. And I still come back to him because I'm like, man, it's just the tradition of it. It's like how simple it is.
To continue that
takes you
same metaphor, 2 and 3 feels like you haven't been back to your favorite diner in a while. and you go back
Yeah.
and it's gotten a serious facelift and you get a little nervous, but then you go in and you realize it's the same guy behind the counter serving the same food. It just looks a little nicer and people heard about it.
Yeah.
That's what 2 and 3 feel like, is like you start it.
The diner didn't sell out.
Right. They just got a
It
facelift.
grew appropriately.
Yep.
It's interesting that like these analogies are like sort of nostalgia based, like sort of like based on a fond memory or like a really strong impression that something made. Because with John Wick, we're intentionally creating a film in that kind of like late 70s, like almost grindhouse violent style, with even with John having a beard that's very 70s, that's very not 2014. The whole thing is shot on vintage Cook anamorphic lenses from 1974. I think they're 74
cool.
lenses with the blue coating and those huge like flares across the screen. We're even putting a filter on the front of them to make the flares even more pronounced. So it is a quality film made with quality ingredients, but even more so like classic ingredients.
retro
So that
in a
when
weird way.
when John Wick arrives, it feels like it's something that's existed for at that point 45 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
I just think there's something to like the informed almost. It's like they used liquid smoke instead of actually smoking something. Smoking a meat. Like it's not actually nostalgia, but it feels like informed nostalgia when John Wick arrives.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
It definitely feels, there were so many parts of it that felt like Enter the Dragon.
Yeah,
Just
totally.
It's like, hey man, we're just here to fight.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
handful
Let's
of
just get
rules.
to it.
Let's just get to it, dude.
There's a lot more to talk about, I think, but first we got to go to shout announcements. It's shout announcements. Time to show we give shout outs, make announcements. Doggy. Hey, here's the thing. Next week, continuing our John Wick discussion with John Wick. I think it's chapter 2. Is it John Wick chapter 2?
It is.
Yeah,
Chapter
second
two.
With John Wick
Yeah.
chapter 2. So make sure you just watch it. We don't always say to watch
You
these
must.
movies, but you simply must. It's just so good
You must watch John Wick chapter
and so
2.
much fun. And also, while we're on the subject of things you must do, you must vote for the Hunkies, for your preferred winner in the Hunkies. You can find a link to vote at twochunksandahunk.com/vote. And if you're a member of our Patreon at any tier level, you get a second vote. And let me tell you,
Wow.
that changes things. Almost
Can you
every time that changes things.
Almost every single time that changes things.
So don't forget to utilize that second vote to make sure that your favorite things are the best things.
Dang.
It's a good month to be a Patreon supporter because in addition to that
Every
extra vote
month's
for
a
the
good
Hunkies, you also get to hear our review of Creed 3.
Yes, you do. Only you. Only on Patreon do you get to hear our review of Creed 3.
King
It's
versus
a real-
Killmonger, bro. Get ready.
It's a real fight Jonathan Majors kind of month on our podcast.
Yeah.
Please. Always.
And a 1, and 2, and 3, and a... Oh, hey there. Staying healthy can get, well, sweaty. That's why I order up post-workout drinks with Drizzly, the #1 app for alcohol delivery. With Drizzly, you can compare prices on the biggest selection of beer, wine, and spirits from local stores and get them all delivered in under 60 minutes. No sweat. So download the Drizzly app or go to drizzly.com. That's DRIZLY.com.
When it's time for an adventure on the open highway, one quick call to American Family Insurance gets you headed in the right direction. Our Travel Peace of Mind package is there if you encounter a bump in the road. From roadside assistance to rental car coverage, we have you covered. Find a local agent or get a quote at amfam.com.
American Family Insurance.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
We're back with more Jonathan Wick discussion.
A lot of people are asking if we're back from shout announcements.
I don't think we're back.
I'm thinking we're back.
That joke would have been so much funnier if you just let me finish what I was saying and then you started your joke.
What were you going to say? No, you go.
No,
you
it
go.
doesn't even matter. It doesn't even
Mais
matter.
super don't.
Yes, please.
Don't pawn on my boy.
Sometimes music too loud, voice too quiet. Sometimes though. Other than that, I liked it a lot.
Yeah. Simple enough.
You couldn't hear what
Music's
they were saying.
so
when it was
loud
like,
you can't hear
"We're
'em."
killing strangers.
Yeah, and just Willem Dafoe's like,
Dude,
all I hear from
amazing
Willem
Willem Dafoe impression.
Amazing Willem Dafoe buried by a really loud song impression.
The thing with Willem Dafoe's character, is it Marcus? The thing with Marcus is that
When he gets shot, he throws his hand straight in the air and goes, nah.
that's like, dude, when Viggo gets scared by John Wick with the shotgun. By the way, John Wick standing on the hood of a car shooting into the driver's seat is one of the coolest shots
Oh my
of all time. The scene where Viggo gets scared by the shotgun and he does a word that I won't say on the show, but instead I'll say ship. And he's just like, ship.
Yeah.
Ship. It cracks me up every time.
He looks like a predator, like just stalking. Like it's just so exact and efficient. It's
like
great,
a panther or something, like a Black
Yes.
Panther. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm
Not the Black Panther,
not
a Black
gun-
Panther.
I'm not a gun boy.
Same.
Right.
Same.
I'm also not a dance boy. Not like the kind of dance that we've seen on this show before. The kind of dance that like Doge can't tell when it's good dance or bad dance. I'm not really that either.
That's
I
definitely
enjoy dancing. I don't enjoy shooting guns.
Right.
But part of me is like, maybe.
If it was this cool, perhaps.
Maybe I want to give it a try, man. I don't know.
there is something, for me at least, about knowing Keanu's real persona and how like meek and nice he is. Like, he seems to be a genuinely good dude. The fact that he is able to turn on this like
He's
intensity that he has in this movie
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
so cool to me.
he's an anomaly though, right? Because he does still feel capable of anything.
Sure.
You know, it's a mix of his career and that same kind of stoic expression. That's why I'm starting to not blame production companies anymore and casting rooms, because they're like, I don't know, I think he could be a samurai. You know what? I don't blame him.
Sure.
I think he
maybe.
could too. He seems to have some of the qualities of a great samurai, and the guy trains his butt off. So it's like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Why not give him a
Give
try?
it a shot.
Just
Yeah.
give him a katana, see what happens.
But how fun that at this point in his career, which we're not even at a decade of John Wick yet, and they're going to have 4 installments of this franchise.
Right.
I think there's
Way
a
to
fifth
freaking
planned
go.
too.
Oh, 100%. Way to freaking go, dude. Like the fact that he gets this at this point in his career, I won't say
Yeah.
late in
Right.
his career, is just
He doesn't seem to be
It's
aging
perfect.
anyway, so it doesn't seem like it matters.
because
Yeah, that's true.
But here's the thing. I also think this age of Keanu is better than if it was a 20-year-old Keanu.
Agreed, dude.
Yeah.
It's just a perfect storm for my guy.
Did you see they wrote this script with like a mid-60s actor in mind? They were
No
trying to
way.
get somebody like to like believably come out of retirement after spending like a lifetime in this.
Interesting.
Yeah,
But
let me look
ultimately,
that
it's not
up.
the-
It's a familiar name.
The list of people considered for this role is surprising. While Carter's looking that up, we can talk about how the movie was supposed to be called Scorn, but Keanu just kept referring to it as John Wick, and they're like, "Well, that's a bunch of free advertising. He's telling people he's in a new movie called John Wick, so let's just call it John Wick."
It's a better name.
Way better name than Scorn.
Much better name. I also love that his name isn't inherently anything like cool. It's just John.
It's one of the producer's grandfather's name.
Really?
His grandfather's
fun.
named John Wick. Yeah.
So fun. dude.
I haven't found it. We don't have to worry about that. Don't wait on me.
Yeah, but I could see it easily being like a De Niro or, dude, honestly, Willem
They considered-
Dafoe would have been
They
great.
considered Statham for the role
No,
as well, which
hard pass.
I think by that time they'd passed on the like aged thing. Yeah, Statham brings me to a Fast and Furious comparison, because if we talk about an action movie that we like, we contractually have to bring up Fast and Furious, I think, on this podcast. This movie is a cooler car movie than Fast and Furious is. Every one of John Wick's black cars is cooler than every car in Fast and Furious.
Oh,
And
dude,
every
I'm going to
John Wick-
hard disagree there. I
yeah,
think.
we can't say-
every John Wick driving scene is cooler.
I'm going to hard disagree
That's
with
fine
you,
if you
dude.
get
I
into
think
the
it's
scene
cooler.
and the ambiance, but like the car itself, probably not. John Wick is cooler than Dom.
Oh, for sure.
Cool.
So
yeah,
then
sure.
it's like when your cool friend is wearing the same clothes you have, and you're like, well, freak, I burned these clothes now.
Yep, I'm not going to wear these
Yeah.
anymore. There is
but it's the same clothes.
the car gun jousting scene where he's like whipping around shooting people.
Dude,
is
he's
just
hunting a man on
so
foot.
sick.
Oh my gosh.
That's
He's
something
doing
that belongs
that
in Fast and Furious.
football drills around
Yes, he is.
stanchions, dude.
Is that when
Like-
he's hunting Mayhem, Dennis from 30 Rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, when he finally takes him out by like stopping his car at the exact moment to smash his head through the passenger window.
Yeah.
Just how frenetic it is and how anxious everyone is when John
Is
enters
around.
into the scene, and he is
Yeah.
so calm.
Yes.
The way, because like even the guy who has already proved capable of like throwing John off and basically winning in hand-to-hand combat, right? It is good that John feels beatable.
Yes.
But he also
Yeah.
doesn't. But it's
Right.
like, who's like, oh shoot, no, these guys got it wrong. Have
Yep.
fun with your guns. I'm gonna get a car and run this dude over because I don't know what else to do, right? It's like,
Yep.
oh my God. And all of a sudden now, any skills that they had are semi out the window because they're terrified.
It's sort of
They
like if
can't do it
Michael
under the
Myers
high-stress
was
situation.
the hero of Halloween. Where it's just like every time he enters the screen, everybody's like, no, John's here,
Yes,
John's here,
don't
John's
you
here. Oh
love
my God,
that?
John's here. Yeah.
Is John Wick a slasher movie from where we're rooting for the slasher?
It's a
Yeah,
shooter. He's a shooter instead of a slasher, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keanu is 59. He's almost 60 years old.
Dude.
Wow.
He looks
I would
40.
have guessed 40.
He looks 40.
Isn't that wild?
Still.
Way to freaking go, man.
The fights get so much more creative as the series goes on, and there are some like all-time great fight scenes in John Wick that I can't wait to get to. But I need to super dump. I haven't super dumped for this movie. My super dump's the dialogue. I think the dialogue sucks in this movie. Like
Yeah.
just sort of blanket. There's some moments. What they do with the dialogue is great. So the way that they build him up as the Baba Yaga, the way that they use John's silence as dialogue so many times,
Yeah.
like when he answers Vigo's call and doesn't answer, what did he say? Enough.
I mean, Keanu's got like 10 lines in this
yeah,
movie.
he barely talks. But even like people that I love that are in this movie. Let me see. So like Lance Reddick, Ian McShane, friggin' Tyra from Friday Night Lights.
Yeah.
Dean Winters didn't call anybody a dummy, so I'm upset about that. But there are so many great people in this movie, and they're all given just the worst dialogue. It gets better as the series goes on, but the
Yeah, I'm
dialogue in
glad.
this one is bad.
That was almost my super dump as well. And it the moments that it started to feel a little bit Rodriguez, is it Robert Rodriguez?
Yes.
Who does
Yes.
like the machine gun and machete movies and stuff.
Shark Boy and Lava
touch
Girl.
early. Yeah, touch like Zack Snyder. It's like we're worried about the style. We're not worried about the substance.
Yeah.
But fortunately, so
Yeah.
much substance came elsewhere from John
Yes.
Wick that didn't
Yeah.
bother me too much.
Same. It doesn't detract from the movie a lot, but I do think the dialogue sucks.
But yeah, no buenos.
No brains. But you know what? I think part of the reason it works is because the dialogue sucks, but John doesn't talk that much, so it's kind of fine.
Yeah.
As long as
nobody's
John's
expecting
cool.
Keanu Reeves to talk a lot.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
The dialogue is bad, but I think you could argue that we're intentionally aiming for a kind of schlocky, like stiff feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know that we are, but I could see somebody being able to successfully convince me that we
Sure.
are. And so the dialogue is actually perfect for what we're aiming for. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Mhm.
If you're going to kill a dog in a movie, make it as cute as this one so that I hate the person who
No.
did it.
Nope.
Dude,
I
rampage.
It's so funny because obviously not in real life would I be like, yeah, I support a murder spree, but in the fiction of a movie like this that is so clearly over the top and stylized,
Yeah.
as soon
I
as
get
the
it.
dog is dead, I'm like, kill them all, kill every single person
Every
Kill
single
them
one.
all.
that has ever met Yosef.
Theon Greyjoy, top of my
Yeah,
list.
done.
He's perfectly slimy for this role. by the way.
Perfectly
Yeah, I
slimy.
hope
Really,
he doesn't.
really
I
good.
hope he doesn't go unnoticed here on this podcast. But yeah, as the prince or whatever, Tarasov,
Yosef Tarasov. Yeah.
Yosef.
Everybody's kind of perfectly cast in this. Everybody is the perfect
Yeah.
level of cool, the perfect level of slimy, the perfect level of believable. I remember the first time I watched it when Tyra from Friday Night Lights showed up. Sorry, I'm going to use her real name and respect her. Adrienne Palicki.
Yep.
When she showed up the first time, I was like, really? And then turns out she's great. She's so good for this. She's so like believably underworld, so believably
Yeah.
hitman. So, I mean, she's great.
Interesting that you use the phrase underworld. I do want to point out Lance Reddick's name is Charon, like Charon, who is in mythology the gatekeeper, the ferryman to the underworld, and you pay him a coin to have passage into the underworld. So
amazing,
absolutely wonderful.
Amazing.
They did that just for me,
just for Doge. Yeah, Lance Reddick is always the right choice.
Man, I love
always
Lance
cast
Reddick.
Lance Reddick.
Man, I love Lance Reddick,
the best
dude.
voice.
I'm probably not going to watch it because
a lot of guys from The Wire in this show.
I'm significantly older than the target audience, but Lance Reddick was cast as Zeus in the Disney Plus Percy Jackson adaptation, which is a pretty cool cast. I do love Lance Reddick.
Man. Let's just do this now. I'm so fascinated by this. So, John Wick cost $20 million, which they did a lot with that $20 million. I think they used it really well.
For real.
It made $86 million. Okay.
Nice.
So great. So 20 million to 86 million. John Wick Chapter 2. It cost 40 million. So we doubled our budget.
Wow.
It made 171 million.
Okay, so statistically even better than the first one. Like
then we get to John Wick. Then we get to Chapter 3. Okay. And John Wick Chapter 3 gets a $75 million budget and makes 330
Wow, John
million.
Wick.
So
people love it, dude.
This is wild.
The return on
so
investment
fun.
keeps growing. The more they spend, the more they make.
Oh, the estimated budget for 4 is 90 million. It's gone up 15.
Please.
Yep.
Here's the thing, dude. I need to apologize because
Accepted.
Top Gun Maverick had me seeing things. And I was so blind. And I guess I wasn't experiencing John Wick yet. But at one point I said it feels like Tom Cruise is one of the last, like, just real action stars.
Keanu,
baby. Keanu's still here. And here's the thing. Can John Wick Chapter 4 make close to $1 billion? If Top Gun Maverick made over $1 billion and the world is just like Quantumania has gone down. People are so they dislike Quantumania more than we did. It feels like overall. It is just down, 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 and it has dropped drastically. It lost 70% of its screens after the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
Quantumania. When I went to see Cocaine Bear, it was in Theater 1, not Quantumania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even in the theater. So it's like, I'm certain John Wick Chapter 4 will make more than Quantumania. Quantumania is probably going to make 600 million or something. Our most successful John Wick was Chapter 3, which we just said made about 350 million. There's no way Chapter 4 makes less, right?
Chapter 4 is at least 800, if not $1 billion.
Yeah, they're spending 90 million on it.
Yeah.
Well, how fascinating that it just keeps getting better.
So,
because even in a series that overall you could say like, hey, our scatter plot here is like, hey, it's still getting better ultimately, but there's dips, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've got little outliers. John Wick hasn't been that, and that's fascinating to me.
Have you
I don't know
guys,
how many movies have done that.
Have you guys seen
John Wick is the only franchise I can think of where each sequel is better than the movie that came before it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Or I like better than the movie that came
ratings
before
would agree. I mean, it's just consistent, which I love. You can always trust yourself to get hyped about the next John Wick movie, which is fun.
Right.
Have you guys seen Nobody, the Bob Odenkirk movie?
No.
It's the same director, right?
No, but it's a lot of the same team. So,
okay.
But for you guys and for listeners, Nobody is really worth your time. That statement out of context is funny, but that movie,
not a single one.
I've always suspected that much, Jordan.
That movie is really cool, and it's got a lot of shared DNA with John Wick in a positive way, not in a copycat way. It's maybe even more not silly, over the top, but in a fun, stylized way. And I just heard this week that it is in fact getting a sequel, which I think it deserves because it
Nobody
is
else
really fun.
I was just about to say that, Carter.
Really?
We do this podcast too much.
But if you don't know, the premise of Nobody is fairly John Wickian. It is humble, quiet family man is the victim of a home invasion, and he's hiding a secret about who he really is, even from his family, or at least from his kids, and doesn't react. but feels emasculated by the fact that he let that happen to his family. So he goes on a revenge rampage, and turns out he's a bad, bad, bad dude.
Cool.
And it
I love
is
it.
aggressively sick. And I think the second one
Odenkirk
is worth
fun.
getting excited about.
Odenkirk is fun because it's like, oh, I did not see that coming.
Yes.
Right. To have him be in a role like that, even like body type, and that feels bad, but I think that's how we can sometimes assess acting roles. It's just like, oh, it doesn't feel like we're trying to go for a little bit more of a mesomorphic vibe here, but yeah, we can deal with this guy. And so that's why too, it's funny to not be surprised by Keanu Reeves, why he's so perfect. Because also Keanu, I can't think of many roles that Keanu has been kicking everyone's ass, and we made sure to show his stomach.
Right.
Nobody cares, right? With Keanu, it's like he doesn't need to look like he's gonna just, right? The intimidating factor about him is just demeanor.
He doesn't have to have like the Marvel personal trainers helping him get big for a role.
Well, it helps.
Yeah, no.
I am
Because it doesn't
fairly
matter.
certain that Keanu is a tall fella, which helps because he is imposing to look at. Yeah, he's 6'1", so he's not that tall, but for Hollywood, that might as well be 7 feet tall.
6'1's pretty tall. Hey, 6'1's tall.
I'm also
That's
6'1".
tall.
I hurt myself when I said it as well. But the
Are y'all both 6'1"?
yeah, we're like almost the exact
This
same
has
height.
happened to me a million times before.
Yeah.
Anyways, I forget.
But
to talk
in
about it.
Hollywood,
Carter's 5'3".
he's sitting on a
I'm
booster
standing
seat.
right now.
He's sitting on 2 phone books.
touching the ground.
That's why his voice is so swingy. But I think in Hollywood, 6'1" might as well be Goliath. And so part of what makes him so imposing in movies is he's just towering over everybody. But he's what Keanu has that other actors sometimes have, but his physicality is off the charts. Just the way he reacts to getting hit looks real. The way he hits looks real. He has this snarl that he does as John Wick when he's into it. That's like so scary to look at. If Keanu was in front of me and snarled at me like that, I would probably poop so hard I died. And so I think he works. I was going to say in spite of himself, but it's not. I think it's all intentional, and I give all the credit to Keanu. He is just
He caters
that good.
to his strengths.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just based off his physicality, Keanu can be John Wick or a lead in a Sims movie. Like he's just this like boink. That's what kids draw people to be. You know, it's just like, let's just try and get proportions neat. Let's just be neat with our proportions.
It's so good. Oh, John Wick. Next week, John Wick 2, but this week, let's rate this bad boy. We're going to use a scientific cinema scale on this one. Try something new. Scientific cinema scale is perfect. And as follows, the best thing we could ever say about a movie is own it. Don't lend it.
Buy that poster.
The next best thing is buy it. That's followed by rent it and then stream it. After that is forget it. And last, but certainly least, the worst thing we could ever say about a movie. God hath forsaken us.
I want to go first.
Please.
Because I don't want to be influenced by whatever you guys say in this situation. I will buy John Wick. It does feel like absolutely we will if we're going to binge watch the whole series.
Sure.
Of course. Why would you not in terms of what it introduces? But there still was some left on the table for me. There were still some things that I was like, man, this isn't, because a buy the poster for me is like, even within a series, like I'm not touching any other Jurassic Park movie but the first one. Star Wars is different. I'm like, it could be a Phantom Menace night. It could be a Return of the Jedi night.
Sure.
But John Wick, I don't know yet. And I'm not trying to retroactively do anything.
No.
But I do
Yeah,
feel
it's good.
like, or I'm not trying to get ahead of myself. It's a buy. It's just a buy.
Yeah, I think
But it's
poster.
a high buy. It's so good.
Poster for me is essentially a buy with some extra sauce on it. You know what I mean? Like it's like a buy is almost as good as a poster. The poster just has that special flavor. And for that reason, I'm buying John Wick because I know what's coming is probably a poster for me.
God, I'm so excited.
And yeah, you should be. It's really going to be a blast for you and honestly for me to hear you experience it. So I can't wait. But yeah, I'm buying John Wick.
And for us, and for me to watch it
yeah,
too.
I'm pumped to watch it as well.
I'm really excited to watch it.
What about me?
I literally had the thought last night. I was like, I could just watch 2 and then watch it again to refresh.
I did too. I have to hit this organically though. Doesn't mean I might not watch it right now. Because
Right
officially
when we
my
finish.
window is open
Yeah.
as soon as we wrap.
Yeah.
That's true. I'm going to, because I did, buy John Wick. I already owned John Wick, but my digital copy was only in HD. And I was like,
4K.
nah, don't have time for this. So I bought all 3 John Wicks for $30
You did.
digitally.
Oh, nice.
Yes, you did.
So yeah, I'm gonna buy John Wick because it's incredible, and I think that there's still meat on the bone, which I'm happy about because we get to chow down on even the more delicious meat that's still on the bone over the next 2 weeks.
Yep. Agreed. It's an exciting time to watch John Wick.
Man, I'm amped.
I was already pumped about John Wick 4 coming out. Watching John Wick last night, I am frothing at the mouth.
Yeah, just like having that.
looks so much like John Wick.
Yeah, it's pretty
I hope
crazy.
so.
I always think that about Doge. How much he
I
looks
hope
like
so.
John
That's
Wick.
what people tell me. People are like, "Are you John Wick?" And I'm like, "People keep asking me if I'm John Wick."
Yeah.
I'm thinking no.
Yeah, that line. As much as I love that line, is the exact
it
thing I'm
sucks.
talking about with the dialogue.
It sucks.
People keep asking if I'm back. I'm thinking I'm back.
But if you
sucks.
want to talk about something being 70s,
Yeah, right.
that's literally a 70s line.
Yeah, for sure. And like the fact that they say to each other, "Be seeing you," when they think one of them will be dying.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? But I want to. Why was Marcus? Did Marcus train John? Is that what we're supposed to assume? Is like Marcus is the reason John is as good as he is? Because why was Marcus the only one from the underworld at John's wife's funeral? Why was Viggo saying
Uncle
like you're
vibes.
close to him? Yeah, it was uncle vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alfred vibes, uncle vibes. I don't think it was like father figure, but it said he's like
No.
one of the last of the old guard. And boy, would I love to
Yeah.
see the old guard. And why isn't it already Jeff Bridges?
And he took the contract just to protect John. That's
Yeah.
so clear.
He
Like,
only said yes to it after he found out that it was an open contract that anybody would kill John.
mhm.
Yep.
Such
Way
a
to go, dude.
such a cool movie. I'm so pumped.
But it's stuff like that. That's not explained. But the audience, you just trust that the audience is going to pick that stuff up.
And there's more of that. There's a lot to man. Yeah, if I had to put together a top 5 fight scene list in John Wick, none of them would come from one.
Absolutely.
How
zero
exciting
from
is that?
this. Although hunting that guy, driving his car around, would be close to the.
See,
5
for me, I think-
that is so like.
I think the best fight scene in John Wick 1 starts in the bathhouse and ends in the nightclub. That whole, 6-minute sequence of that area is phenomenal. But like, I think pales in comparison to, I'm not going to name things because I don't want to give things away, but there are just so many great.
Right. No, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about next week.
Yeah. Like, I just can't wait. I can't wait. I'm stoked. So anyway, tune in for that. John Wick Chapter 2 next week. It's going to be a good time. And don't forget, vote. Vote for our hunkies, 2chunksinahunk.com/vote. If you're on Patreon with us at any level, you get a second vote. So utilize that. Influence
I was
the
thinking-
future,
Would you guys prefer it if people rocked that vote? Would you like them to
I'd
do
love that.
I think I want them to as well.
Yeah. Rock it so hard that you're killing strangers so you don't kill the one that we love. We can cut all of that. It's too much. It's too much. Or leave it. Dealer's choice. To end today's episode, I'd like for each of us to say our name and what our sort of gimmick as an assassin would be if we were in the John Wick universe. For 2 Chunks in a Hunk, my name is Jordan Wonders, and they would refer to me as Slim Jim. And anytime I would go to an assassination attempt or target, usually they would be like, "Are you Slim Jim?" And I'd say, "Yes." And I'd say, "But you're not Slim." I'd say, "No." And I'd say, "Is your name Jim?" And I'd say, "No." And they'd say, "Why do they call you that?" And then I'd say, "So that I can kill you while you're confused." Boom. They didn't even know. They didn't even know that during their befuddlement.
And the punchline always dies with you, like with who you're killing, because people still don't know why they call you
exactly.
that.
They're all confused because the only people that
That's
find
so
out are
brilliant.
dead already.
That's so brilliant, dude.
And when I shoot my gun, I say, "Snap." Like I snap into a Slim Jim.
You dress like Randy Savage.
Just every time I show, "Oh, yeah."
Just processed meat breath.
Yeah.
That's already there.
I'm Doge.
Nothing different.
I'm Doge. And in the days of the American frontier, sometimes loggers would disappear. Well, they would wander out into the woods and never return. And the creature that was said to be responsible for their disappearances was something called a hide behind. And this creature would render themselves invisible, hide behind trees, hide behind loggers, and kill them before they knew it. And I think people would refer to me as the hide behind because I would mostly just hide and they wouldn't be able to find me. I don't think I would be able to bring myself to commit the kind of violence that John Wick seems to enjoy, but I would try to hide and get away from
Who's the
loud
scariest
guns and
assassin?
punches.
The hide behind. How many targets has he killed? None.
None.
But think about when he finally does.
When he finally does.
Because nobody's ever seen me. I could be anywhere. The hide behind is behind you right now, and you might be his first.
A movie about an assassin with a reputation that he has not earned, having to finally take his first target. I would watch that.
Yeah.
That is funny. I'm Carter, and I'm going to be an assassin that is just absolute chaotic neutral. And it's just like, you don't hire him if you dare, but the guy's just in it for the highs. You know, I'd go by cojones, and I only kill using billiard balls.
Cool.
Any particular method or just however?
Throwing them, taking them, and putting them in my hands and like crushing your face with them.
Why?
Cool.
Why is he
Like, if
taking
I
his
don't-
socks off?
Like, I don't even think I get paid. I don't even do it for payment. That's like,
It's the love of the game
If you
that
could just
keeps
give
him in
me a
it.
good, like, well-crafted billiard ball, I'm in.
You're the soul skater. You're the Andy Brinker of the assassination world. It's like, don't sell out, dude. Kill for fun.
Yeah.
What are you doing? We got beef,
I'm just kind of consistently like having fresh wounds that are oozing a little bit, because I'll even sometimes just for the flash, I'll be like I'll kick one and it like breaks my foot a little bit, but that's fine because it was cool, you know.
Did you know Viggo
out of his
Mortensen
mind.
actually broke his toe?
Goodbye, everybody.